the concept of smart forms, right? We saw its introduction, we saw some of its features. Then what we saw is if there is any kind of requirement that we have to create any of this smart form, what we will do, we will first divide it into various parts or sections, right? And for each sections we will have to create our windows. For each section we will have to create our windows. So suppose this is a smart form that I want to create, and in this smart form I want to display my header and item data. So for my employee table we will have fixed number of records, and for our item tables we can have multiple number of records, right? So in the previous session we also saw that if we have to display custom data, we will go for secondary window, and if we will have to if we have to display fixed amount of data, we will go for secondary window. And if we will have to display let's say dynamic data, then we can directly go for main window thing, right? Then we also saw where is it, mm, main window global definition. Yeah, for continuous number of data, we can directly create tables inside our main window. And then we can simply create for our fixed number of records, we can create template in our secondary windows. This was the feature we saw. So let's take this requirement, same requirement we have, this one, we want to create it as a smart form. So I will open my SAP system. Okay. This is our SAP system. Let's open it. And I will go for my smart forms transaction code. So smart forms. Here I will give a name, a form name. So let's say smart forms for ABAP. Okay, and I will go for create button. So this is my smart form, right? So I will give a short description here. Smart forms. Now these all are three main features of our smartphone. Form interface contains the generic data. We have seen it. Form interface is where this is the section of the interface using which we can take input from the user, right? Then we have global definition where we usually write the logic part and globally define the variables and internal tables. Then this is a by default one page and one main window is available on our smartphone. So what I will do, we will create our 7 windows. Successfully we will create our 7 windows, and we will simply display our data on these windows, right? So first window we will display our employee details. So I will right click on the page and I will go for create window. Okay, and I will give a name here, smart form heading. Okay, and I will give its size. Again, if you want to give the size of the window, you can directly go for this output options and you can pass here the fixed length accordingly here. And if you want, you can directly change it from here also. Okay, so this is my window 1. I want to give a good location for it. So let's say I will bring it here and I will increase its length. This will be my window 1. In this we will display our employee heading, right? We will display our employee heading in this particular window. Then we will go for our next window. So window 2, right click, create window. Let's drag it below. So window 2, I will name it window 2. Window 2, or let's say I want to display employee ID and its value, right? So employee ID and its value, employee ID and its value. Perfect. Again we will give a location for this window. So this main window, let's drag it below. And this window I will drag it here, and it should be okay, its length should be a little bit more. All right, let's give this length here, right? This length I'm giving it, and a little bit space between window and 1 and window 2. Okay, so this will be my window 2 where I will display employee ID and its value. Okay, Then I will go for the next. So I will go for the next window. Next window, I want to display employee heading. So I will go for page, right click on the page, create window. Okay. Again, let's drag it below. So window 1, 2 and 3. Here I will display my employee heading. Employee heading. Okay. Employee heading. Now let's give a location for this window. So again, I will drag it below and employee heading. Yeah, it should be fine. Only text I need to display here. So employee heading. Then we need to display employee data, right? And we also have 4 columns here, so its length should be big and it will have 2 rows here. It's a template we want to display it. So I will create a new window, page, right click, create window. Okay, again drag it below, window 4, and I will give here employee data description. Okay, then for this window 4, we need a good amount of space. So let's drag it below, and again let's decrease the size of main window, and I will increase the size of our this window 4, both width and height also. Yeah, it's perfect now. Let's check its height, how much it is there. 17, height is 4. Yeah, 4 should be fine. So window 4, it's ready. Now I'll go for window 5. Window 5 will display my project details label. So I will right click on my page, create window. Okay, right click on page to create window, and I will give a label for it also. So drag it below, and here I will give a label for it as project details label. Perfect. For this label, we will pass our window again. So let's drag it below. But before that, we need to drag our main window again below. And I will bring my main window here. Sorry, window 5 here. And in this window, we will display our project details label. So this will display my project details label. So I have created my 5 windows. 6th window will be my main window, in which I will display my item data. So by default, there is a good size of main window. We don't need to make any change in it. So I will let it be 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 and 6. So output screen is ready now. All window we have created, right? So all window we have designed. The 7th window we will design later to display the logo. For now, we just need to display the text value. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 window we have created. Now for the first window, we also have discussed in the previous session that if we want to display some data, into the smart form, we use text. We use text here, right? We use text to display our data. So I will go for text, right? I will go for text. I will go for window 1. In the window 1, what we want to display, where is my smart form? I want to display this employee details label, right? So I will go for my window 1, right click, create, and text. So text, I will go for text here, general attributes, and go for text editor. Okay, so a word file automatically appears. We don't need that. We can directly go for this text editor section and write the text here, employee details. Now go back and activate it. So I'll go to web property and I'll activate it. First assign the package and transport request. So our smart form has been activated. Now I also explained in the previous session that for our each smart form, what you see is whenever we execute our smart form, standard function module is generated by SAP system at the runtime. A standard function module is always generated. So if you will go for execute button here, you will see that a function module has been generated and it will take you to SE37 function builder screen. So this function module was generated, and now if you want to what happened? Am I audible?
Yes. Yes, you're audible.
Wait. There is some problem in internet connection. Let me check. Smartphones. So I will open a separate section for this SE37. SE37, and I will execute this function module. Go for execute button and execute it. Here, if you want to display your output, you need to provide a output device. So I will go for F4 help, and here I will check the output device of my type. So one is the output device LP01, which is used to display your output, and go for print preview. See, this is my basic text that I have created. Can you see employee details is coming? Though it is not
Yes.
looking like this colorful format because we have not given the font yet. So we will see it later on. For now, we just display the text part. So our heading is coming, right? One text has
Mhm.
been appearing here. Now I will go for next window. So in the next window, which is my window 2, I want to display where is my smartphone? I want to display employee ID and its value. So this value we will take input from the user. We will take input from the user at the runtime. So for that, I will go to my form interface, and here I will pass a input parameter. Here I will pass one input parameter. Open our. You cannot switch to change mode or display mode. Why? Slash Smartforms. Currently editing. Oh, there is a lock. Let's change it SN12. Search. There is a lock. Let me delete it. All right. It's saying that I cannot switch to change mode or display mode. Slash SN12. Search. Let's delete this one also. Now I'll go for Smartforms. Change. Yeah. Now let's see now form interface. Yeah, it's coming now. We will take input from the user. Here I will pass the input parameter as p employee ID, and if you remember, I told you this is the same section. This is the same section that you will see in your function module also. So if you go and check your function module, you will find out that in the import parameter same number of parameters are there, and if you will add any parameter, that will also come here. Same exporting parameter, changing in table section and exception section are also available. So this interface part will also be same in case of your function module that will be generated, right? So I will simply pass here a input parameter p employee ID type and its data element. So data element, let's see the data element from our employee table. Employee table, display. This is my data element. Its name is same. Yeah, paste it here. Okay. Now this input that we are taking from the user, we will simply display it. We want to display it here, right? We want to display it. So I will again go for my window 2 now. Window 2. And in the window 2, Now if you check the window 2, we need to display two columns. We need to display two columns. One column is employee ID, second column is our its value, right? So we cannot directly display here text. But if you remember the introduction part of our smart form, there I explained in case of our secondary window, if for displaying fixed amount of records, we create a template. We always create a template if we have multiple columns. If we have only one row, we do not go for templates. We can directly use text. But if we have more than one rows, then we will have to create a template, right? So I will go for my window to right click, create and template. I will create one template here. And if you check its output options, template and details option. Now in the details option, this is the height and this is the width. This is the width of your window, and inside the window this template has been created. So at this moment we have only one column. At this moment we will have only one column. So we will divide this width into two parts because we need two columns here. So I'll give here 3, and let's say I'll give here, or let's make it 3.5 and 3.5 centimeter, right? Not 3.5, it's not taking, so 3,5, yeah, 3,5. Okay, so 3.5 and 3.5 combined, it will be 7 less than 7.07. So let's see, activate it. Template width does not match total table width. Okay, we cannot go for, let's make it to 3. Let's reduce its length. Yeah, let's activate it now. Yeah, now it is perfect. We are getting two columns here. Two columns we are getting. Let's go and check our details again. So first column is 3.5, second one is 3.57. So it's perfect. Now inside this template, I will create two text. So create text. This text will be, okay, let's close it. This text will be employee ID label, employee ID label. And if you go and check the output options here, you can give its column, on which column you want to display. Why it's not coming? Okay, we need to create one more text. So create text. All right. So now text 2, let's drag it below. Yeah, so this will be my employee ID value. So employee ID label, I will display text here. Go for text editor, and I will give here the label name. So employee or EMP ID. Okay, go back. Now go for output options, and if you will go below, you will find out there is a output structure. Here you can give your row and column, in which column you want to display text 2 and in which column you want to display the text 3. So if I check my smart form, in the first column I want to display my employee ID, and in the second column I want to display my employee ID value. So here I will give first column, first row and first column. Same for text 3. I will also give this for text 3 also. So text 3 will be first column and second row. First row and second column. So it will be displayed in the second column. Now I will go to general attributes and I will display my text. Okay. Here we want to display the value that we are taking from the user input. That value is employee ID. And what is the name of the value that we have given? P employee ID. P employee ID. But if you will directly write like this format, it will only display the P employee ID. It will not display its value. If you want to display the value of this variable, you will have to write it in n%, in between n%. Now it will display your value, which is P employee ID. Okay. Now go back and activate it. Go back and activate it. So let's again execute our smart form. Where is it? This is the function module, execute it, and I will pass some value here, let's say 102, and I will go for execute lp01 and print preview. See, employee ID and its value, employee ID and its value, right? But if I check my output, it is getting displayed in the same format, only this one is a barcode and this one is its a font and color is different, which we will design later, right? So this one is perfect now. Now I will go for the next window. Next window is my employee heading. Okay, so I'll go for window 3. This is my window 3. I will right click on window 3 and I will go for text. So create text, text editor. And here I will write employee. Okay, go back and activate it. So this one is also ready. Then I will go for fourth window. Fourth window is my employee data. So 4 columns from my employee table, right? I will display 4 columns from my employee table in it. 4 columns. So that data we will have to write logic based on this input ID. Whatever ID we are taking input, employee ID, whatever ID we are taking input from the user, we will fetch the data, and based on that we will display it in this employee data section and in this project details section also, right? We are going to simply display here. So for that purpose we will have to write our logic. We will have to write our logic. We'll have to write our logic. So now I will go to my global definition section, types, and I will create my structure for all these columns. Okay. So what are the columns? Employee ID, name, manager, and salary. Okay. So I will create here types. I'll create my structure, begin of types section is for creating the structure, which I have explained already in the previous session. So here I will create my structure, right? Local structure, employee ID, type its data element. Where is my table? Data element. Then the second column is for employee name. Okay, employee name, type its data element. So data element. Third is my manager. So manager, type its data element. And then salary, type its data element. Okay, so salary column, and I will paste here the data element and of ty employee. So this is my local structure. Similarly, I will create for item also. So types, begin of ty underscore project. Okay, I will go for first column, which will be employee ID and same data element. So paste it here. Then I will go for second column. So project ID, type, and data element of project ID. Then third column will be project name, type data element of project name. Okay, and of ty underscore project. So this is how we will create our local structure. Now once this local structure is ready, we will go to global data, and here we will create our internal table and work area. Okay, so lt employee, type table of our structure name, so ty employee, then ls employee, type ty employee, then lt project, type table of ty underscore project, ls project, type ty underscore project. Let's activate it. This is how we declare our structure and internal table inside the Smartform. Now we need to write the logic. So I will go for initialization section. Now one thing is mandatory for initialization. Whatever data you are using from global data and form interface, you will have to pass in the input parameter so that this section can receive it. And if you are sending it out in the output, that is if you want to display it in the windows, you will have to pass in the output parameters also. Okay, so here I will take input for my p employee id, lt employee, which in which I want to store data. I will go for below and I will store one more column, ls employee. Then I will go for lt project also, so lt project, and I will go for ls project also. Okay, these things I will take input, and same thing I will also pass in output because I am using them in the windows. So lt employee, then ls employee, ls employee, then fourth column, third one, lt project and ls project. Okay, ls project. So it's ready. Now I will go for my logic part. So I'll write my logic here. Select emp id, employee name. Third column will be my manager and salary. From my employee table, employee tab, into internal table lt employee, where employee id is equal to p underscore employee underscore id, right? So it will bring the data into my lt employee, and based on that I can use for all entries to bring the data of my project also. So if lt employee is not initial, I'll go for and if, and in between I will write the logic for my item. So select employee id, project name from my project table. So project into table lt project for all entries in lt employee, where employee id is equal to lt employee hyphen employee id, right? This is how we write the logic for all entries. Same thing, it will return data into lt project. Now we have records of our employee table. So let's bring it into the work area also. So I will apply a read statement on my employee, read table lt employee, because we cannot directly use the data of internal table. We always use it into work area. We always pass it into work area and then we use it into our required section. So ls employee with key emp id is equal to p emp id. Yeah, it's fine. Let me check. Yeah, so let's activate it and see if there is any error or not. Object activated, so no error. We have written our logic. Now I will go back to window 4. So in this window, I want to display all these 4 values: employee ID, its value; employee name, its value; manager, its value; salary, its value, right? All these 4 things I want to display. Okay, so I will have to create 4 columns and 2 rows. I need to create 4 columns and 2 rows. So again, I will create a template here. Right click, go for create and template. In this template, I will go for details. This time I will need 2 rows. So I will pass here 1, 2, 2. 2 rows I need, and its height is okay, 20 mm is fine. And let's define 4 columns here. So 4 columns, okay, 4 centimeter will be fine then. So 4, 4, 4 and 4. Okay. 4 columns which I am defining. 4 centimeter, 4 centimeter, 4 centimeter, and 4 centimeter. Combined, they will become 16. It will be less than 17, so it's fine. Let's go back to Windows and try to activate it. So I'll go for activation. Let's see if there is any error or not. See here, it has been defined here 4 columns and 2 rows. So 1 and 2. So it's fine. Inside this template, I will go for text. So create text. Now I will start with the text. This is my text 5. What is the use of this text? It will be employee ID label. So employee ID label, ID label. Then I will go for another text, or better yet, let's write our text value first. Close it. No. Employee ID. Go back. Right click on the template and create a new text. Drag it below. This will be employee ID value. So employee ID value. Now this value is inside our ls employee. So we need to display that particular data. So I'll go for text editor, and here inside the n%, I will display ls employee emp id in between the n%. Okay. So this value, whatever value that has been generated at the runtime based on the logic, that value will be printed here. Now go back, create another text. So create text, and this will be, what will be its use? Employee name label. Okay, so employee name label. I'll go for this text editor. Again, Word will be opened, close it, go for next, and employee name. Now go back and activate it. Again, right click and display employee ID value. So sorry, employee name value, text, another text. Come back, and it will be employee name value. So n% ls employee emp name, emp underscore name. Okay, go back. So 4 text has been created. Now 4 are still left: manager, its value, salary, and its value. Okay, so I'll go for template, create, and text. Drag it below. This will be your manager label. Text editor, and go for manager label here. So manager, go back. Then another text, create text. Drag it below. Manager value, and I will display the value from work area. So text editor, close the word, and here n% ls employee underscore manager. Okay, now go back. Then we will go for our salary. So right click, create text, our salary column. So salary here, salary label, and I will display the label. Salary. Go back and activate it. Then salary value also. So right click, create text, drag it below, and text editor, salary. Sorry, we need to display our value here. So ls employee hyphen salary. Okay, perfect. Go back and write here a description, salary value. Now I will activate it and I will check my Smartform first, how it is getting displayed there. So let's execute our function module and 103. Okay, go for execute button, LP01 and print preview. Data is getting displayed, but it is overriding each other. So there is a reason. The reason is we have created all the text, but we have not allocated suitable columns for them. We have not allocated suitable columns. So let's go to each of them. I'll go for output options and I will drag below. And this will be my first row, first column. Next, this will be my first row, second column. Next, this will be my first row, third column. Then next, first row, fourth column. Then I'll go for next, second row, first column. So second row, first column. Next, second row, second column. Next will be second row, third column. And at last, it will be second row, fourth column. So second row, fourth column. Okay, let's activate it. Now I will go back to my function module. I will re-execute it. I'll take the input 104, execute, LP01, print preview. So let's check. See, employee ID, its value, employee name, its value, manager, its value, salary, its value. But we need a proper here. We need this frame. We need this frame here. So let's use it. I'll go for template. You can go for template section here and you can select any of the frames, any of the frame patterns you can select. So I will select this one and I will activate. Now I will go back and I will regenerate it. I'll go back and I will regenerate it. So go back and I will execute it again. So let's check. LP01 print preview. Sorry, let's reopen it. Go back, execute it again. Pass the value 102 and LP01 print preview. Right, now see here that box is coming, right? That box is appearing here. That box is appearing here and its value we are getting displayed in this frame. So you can design your frame accordingly. You just need to do here, go for template, go for this particular select pattern and select any of these patterns that you want, any of these patterns. Okay, so my template is ready. Window 4 is done. Now I will go for window 5, right click, create text, not address, I need text. So delete this address, right click, create text. It will be my what we want to display, project details label. Okay, so project details label and go for text editor. Go for text editor and I will display here project details. Okay, go back and activate it. Then we will go for main window. Okay, I will go for main window and inside this main window we want to display our item data. So it can be possible that let's say we have 10 rows or 15 rows or 100 rows in the item table. We cannot predict it earlier. So we cannot directly use here template because template are only used for a fixed amount of values. But in case of our item, we can have duplicate records or multiple records. So for that purpose, we always go for table section. So create table, go for table here. Now this will be your table. And if you go for data section, here you can directly pass the internal table and work area. This table will automatically loop between your internal table and work area. You just need to pass the value, it will be displayed accordingly. So LT project into LS project. And if you check the table section, there is a header section which you can use for giving this heading. There is a header section which you can use for giving this heading. Then main area is there which you can use to display your rows. And then there is a footer section. If you want to display some footer section, you can display it using this particular section. So this is some of the features of your tables in case of a Smartform. I will go for header first. And but before that, I will design something for my table because we need 3 columns, right? So I'll go for table here and details, and I will design 3 columns. So its width is 16 centimeter. I will divide it into 3 parts. So let's make it to 4, 4, or let's make it to 5, 5. Yeah, 5 will be fine. So 5, 5, 5. Perfect. I will save it, and I will go for main window and I will activate it. So 3 columns I have given. It is telling me it do not match. How? Save. Yeah, now it's fine. 5, 5, 5. Now I will go for header section here, and I will go for right click, create, and table line. Create a table line here and select your table line L type 1. This is the same thing that you have designed here, 3 columns. If you go and check it again, data table, its name is same, L type 1. Just you need to pass it, and whenever you will pass it, by default 3 cells will be generated. The number of columns that you are creating here, same number of cells will be generated, and all these cells you can use to display your text. So I will go for text, create, and text. Inside it, what we want to display, we want to display our employee ID label. Okay, so I will display my employee ID label here. Employee ID label. I will go for text editor, and I will pass the value. So value will be employee ID. Okay, go back. Now I will go for the second one. This will be my second column, will be the project ID label. So right click, create text, and project ID label. So project ID. Okay, go back, then go for third column, create text. It will be project name. Wait a second, I have a call. Just wait a second. Yeah, hello. Sorry for the delay.
Yeah, no problem.
So, what we want to display here, a third one will be project name, right? Okay, let's go for it. Project. Go back and activate it. Okay, so three columns we have displayed. Now these labels are getting displayed or not. Let's check. Go back, 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 back. Re-execute it. Pass any of the column value. Let's say 105. Execute it. Output device and print preview. So yeah, project details and these three columns heading are getting displayed, right? Now we need to display their values. So we'll go for main area section of the table. This main area section is where we display our value. So right click on the main area, go for create and again table line, select your line type. Again, three cells will be generated. In these cells, we will simply display our values. So right click, create and text. Okay, go back to your text editor, general text editor. Now see, we have already applied loop here. In the main table definition, automatic loop is getting applied. So by default, all the data will come to ls project and we will simply display our value. So employee ID and each row will be automatically displayed. Each row will be automatically displayed on this table section. We on the data we have got our lt project into ls project. So my text will be displayed. Then for cell 5 we will again display the next one, which is my project id. Okay, I will go for text editor and ls underscore project id, ls project id. Okay, go back and activate it. Then third column, right click, create text. This will be project name. So ls project hyphen project name plus project name. Okay, so three columns have been given now. Three. Now if you want something to display in footer, so footer simply means when all the rows will be displayed. If you want to display something in footer, then you can use this footer. Header is for heading, main area is for displaying the content, and footer is for giving a footer to your table section. So it's totally up to
Mhm.
you if you want to give it or not. For now I just don't need it, so I will activate my smart form and I will go back and check. So let's re-execute this function module. I'll pass my value 101 and I will go and check, execute it, lp01 and print preview. See here, all these three values are coming, right? Project ID, project name, for the same employee ID that you have passed here. For the same employee ID that you have passed here, automatically the values are coming. Again, I want to give here a frame also. So I will go for my tables and pattern, display frame pattern and activate it. Now let's check it again. So go back and execute it. 101 or 102, let's say. Execute lp01 and print preview. See 102 now, right? Employee ID 102, its name, manager and its salary. Employee ID 102 and this label. So this is how you normally create any of the smart form. This is how normally you create any smart form. Whenever you have any kind of requirement, you usually divide it into the windows because it becomes easier. If I will try to create everything in a particular window, we will face lots of complexity, and it can be possible that we might not able to design it because a single mistake, let's say if here if you check your designing part, if this window will overlap each other, you will might not get correct results. If this window will come here, you will not be able to see the content of window 2 or window 1, or maybe while generation of function module a runtime error can trigger, right? So designing is everything in case of Smartform. It is usually take lots of time while designing. So here logical part is very less, only designing part is there. We just need to write a simple logic, or we can simply write our logic in the program also, and we can use this form interface section. We can use this form interface section to receive the internal table directly from the program, because this is nothing, just a function module. We can call it in the program also, right? So same stuff is there. Let's activate it and let's use it from the program now. I will copy its function module. So copy this function module, go to SE38. SE38. Z calling Smartform into program. Okay, go for create button, calling Smartform into the web program. Okay, I will call it. I will pass here type executable. I will assign the package, and I will go for transporter. I will go for transport request here. So and enter. So once it is ready, I can directly call the function module. So call function single quotes. Again, we can go for pattern also, or we can directly use this technique, control plus space and press enter. Your function module will be called, and you can see here it is asking for p employee id parameter input, which is the input that we have given here. Is the same input that we have given in case of our form interface. Same thing it is asking. So you can create here parameters. Empid type its data element. So data element, and I will pass it here as a user input, p employee id. Uncomment the exceptions and let's execute it from the program by default. Execute it. Pass any value, let's say 104. Execute. See output device and print preview. So 104 and its value, right? It is getting displayed here. The same thing is here. Now usually it is not a good approach to directly pass the function module name. It is not a good approach. So there is a separate function, there is a function module given by SAP system which we can use it. So interview question is also here. How to know the function module name of a Smartform without executing the Smartform. Executing the Smartform. How can we know the name of the function module for our Smartform without actually executing it? So for that we can use SSF function module name. Function module name. This function module, we can use this function module for our purpose. Okay, we can use this particular function module for our purpose. SSF function module name. Okay, so I will call this function module here. Let's go and check. So pattern SSF function module name, press enter. Here if you go and check this function module, you will find out. Let's go inside it and check it. Import section. If you will check this function module, this is form name, and if you go for this data type, it is Smartform form name, and it is of character 30. So we will have to pass our Smartform name in this particular parameter, and in the exporting section there is a parameter fm name, and this particular parameter, what it does, name of the function module, it returns the name of the function module, right? So we can use these two parameter. First, I will create an input for this TDS F name. So go back and let's create one more parameter. So parameter P FM name, type this TDS F name, and I will pass it here P underscore FM underscore name. Then the importing, I will receive my in the function module name. So I'll go for it and I'll bring its data type also. Exporting, I'll copy its data type, come back and create a data type for it. So data, a variable FM name, type RSL 38L underscore F name. Okay, so I will pass this variable here. We will receive it FM underscore name. Uncomment the exceptions as usual. For any runtime error will be there. We will understand where the error is triggering. Now I will activate it. There is some problem. Let's see. The parameter can be up to 8 character only. Okay, so I have given this long name. So PFM and right. Let's activate it now. It's fine. Now I will put here a debugger and I will check what is happening. Go for execute button. I will pass the employee ID and here I will pass my function module name. Okay, so let's copy our function module and paste it here and go for execute button. So debugger is hitting. Let's check our function module name. Can you see it is returning us the function module name, right? Same function module. If you go back and execute it, you will see it is the same /1 bcd wb /sf 3250 and 105, right? So same thing it is returning us. So this particular ssf function module name we can use to know the name of our function module. If we want to know the name of our function module, we can use this particular thing, right? Now I'll come out of it. I will debugger, close application. Yeah, go back to SE38. SE38. Open it, change. Now since we know that we are receiving the name of our function module in this particular variable, what we can do is directly we can replace this call function with this variable. So this is a good programming practice. Once you call the function module, simply replace it with the variable name, right? Now our program is ready. So let's go and check, execute. I will pass your employee ID, let's say 103, and I will pass the function Smartform name and execute it. Output device LP01 and print preview. See, we are getting the results, right? We are getting the results. So normally this is how we can design our smart form. Okay, normally this is how we can create our smart form.